Namaste, angels, of the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, July 15th through Saturday, the 21st. And I'll begin with the 16th, which is that 7-7 that or the equivalent of 7-7, about which I had the vision, and I did, which inspired one of my videos recently. I think the karmic one, the karmic divine masculine one. But one of my recent videos, I have done so many between the collective ones and the client ones that I'm getting a little bit, they're all starting to sort of merge together. I have to release them after I complete them. But it's definitely recent, if you want to check that out. So I had this whole vision about the energy of 7-7-7 and 2-2-2. And the reason for that was because on that day at 1:15 p.m., Uranus will be semi-sextile Chiron. And it's going to be Uranus will be 2 degrees Chiron 22. And it looks like it will also be 2 degrees Aries 22 retrograde. So it's like the energy of 7-7-7 and 2-2-2 twice over. So that's special. And then after I had that vision, the time, okay, let me go over all the 7-7-7s. So of course July is 7, the 16th is 7, 1:15 p.m. is 7. The date alone, 7-7-2, which is the year, but 2018 equals 2, equals 7. 7-7-2 equals 7 also. Okay, so what else equals 7? That might be it, but that's 4 7s. And I just told you about all the 2s. There are 6 2s. And each set of 3 2s equals 6. So I think that means something also. So I learned, in addition to that, that day, July 16th, is also the feast day of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. So I learned that pretty much right away also. I was like, oh, how could I have missed that? So that adds even more special energy to the day. And of course, 6, the number 6, represents Mary too. So I don't think that's an accident either. I don't believe in coincidences. The 2-2-2s aren't a coincidence either. Also, on the 20th of July, still going on the sort of celestial calendar, at 9:41 a.m., Saturn will be quintile Neptune. And I didn't feel anything particular about the numerology for that day. That doesn't mean there is no special numerology. I just didn't get any kind of feeling. But I had the vision about 7/16, or July 16th, equaling 7-7, a couple weeks ago. All right, so I'm going to move on to the Christian calendar. And of course, we'll go over all these things in a little bit more detail. Again, on July 16th is the feast day of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, also known as Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Mother and Queen of Chile. There are some regular saints days throughout the rest of the week. Nothing that we need to take up time with. On the Hebrew calendar this week, Tisha B'Av. So we'll go over that too. But first I will go in order and talk to you about Our Lady of Mount Carmel from www.wikipedia.org. Our Lady of Mount Carmel is the title given to the Blessed Virgin Mary in her role as the patroness of the Carmelite order. The first Carmelites were Christian hermits living on Mount Carmel in the Holy Land during the 12th and early mid-13th century. Of course, 13 also associated with Mary. They built in the midst of their hermitage a chapel, which they dedicated to the Blessed Virgin, whom they conceived of a chivalric terms as the Lady of the Place, in quotes. Our Lady of Mount Carmel was adopted in the 19th century. Of course, 19 also a very special number here. adopted in the 19th century as the patron saint of Chile in South America. Since the 15th century, 15 equals 6, again connected to Mary, popular devotion to Our Lady of Mount Carmel has centered on the scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, also known as the brown scapular, a sacramental associated with promises of Mary's special aid for the salvation of the devoted wearer. Traditionally, Mary is said to have given the scapular to an early Carmelite named Saint Simon Stock. The liturgical feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel is celebrated on the 16th of July. The solemn liturgical feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel was probably first celebrated in England in the latter part of the 14th century. Its object was thanksgiving to Mary, the patroness of the Carmelite order, for the benefits that she had accorded to it through its difficult early years. The institution of the feast may have come in the wake of the vindication of their title, quote, Brothers of the Blessed Virgin Mary, end quote, at Cambridge. And this happened in England in the year 1374, which also equals 6. The date chosen was the 17th of July. On the European mainland, this date conflicted with the feast day of Saint Alexis. Mary probably was like, you got me on the wrong day. Your intuition is off by one day. Move me to the 16th. It required a shift. The conflict required a shift to July 16th, which means the feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel throughout the Catholic Church is celebrated now on the 16th. And it goes on to talk more about the history and the Carmelite order and apparitions of Mary, which means other places she appeared. But you can read that on www.wikipedia.org, or I'm sure many other places if you like. Going to the Hebrew calendar again, and Tisha B'Av. What exactly is it? Well, we're going to find out with www.chabad.org, chabad.org. Tisha B'Av is the 9th of the month of Av, which is this year, July 21st and 22nd, like over sundown the next day. It's the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, on which we fast, deprive ourselves, and pray. It's the culmination of the 3 weeks with a capital T and capital W. A period of time during which we mark the destruction of the Holy Temple of Jerusalem. In the year 1313 BCE, I don't have to keep repeating how important 13 is, right? The spies returned from the Promised Land with frightening reports, and the Israelites balked at the prospect of entering the land. God decreed that they would therefore wander in the desert for 40 years. Both holy temples in Jerusalem were destroyed on this date. The first temple was burned by the Babylonians in the year 423 BCE, and the second temple fell to the Romans in the year 70 CE, unleashing a period of suffering from which our nation has never fully recovered. The Bar Kokhba revolt against the Romans in the year 133 CE ended in defeat. The Jews of Batar were butchered on the 9th of Av, and the Temple Mount was plowed 1 year later on the same date. Later in our history, many more tragedies happened on this day, including the 1290 expulsion of the English Jews and the 1492 banishment of all Jews from Spain. You can read more about this on, they have a link if you do want to read it, they have a link to click on to read more. And it goes into more of what happened in the year 1492 when the Jews were expelled from Spain. Any more here that I want to read? I don't think so. It goes on to explain how it's celebrated and like what is done after the fast and things like that. So again, anybody wanting to check that out, I think can. One thing that is, I will read, that's important to note is that there's joy within the sadness. So it's sort of like, think of the energy of maybe the 10 of Swords. There can be some joy in the pain, you know, because it's ending, right? So you're getting over some of these things. So that could be. And sometimes like the 10 of Swords is about separating from something that you needed to separate from. So, you know, there's like mixed emotions and mixed feelings about it. It could be breaking an addiction, leaving a toxic situation. It's something that can make you sad, but at the same time make you happy. And so that's what they're trying to describe with this. And what they note here is that even as we mourn, there's an element of joy and comfort. Indeed, the reading of the passages related to this in the Torah conclude with the verse, "Restore us to you, O Lord, that we may be restored. Renew our days as of old." This is also a custom among many to use the flimsy paperback Kinnot booklets, hoping that they will not be needed the next year. So he's saying that they use like a disposable sort of Torah, not the full book, because every year they're hoping that the joy will have been restored and they won't have to do this again. It's by no accident that the scripture refers to this day as a moed, a holiday, a takanan, where we do a prayer of repentance. It's not said on this day. May the time soon come when we can look back with clarity of hindsight to see how all our suffering was to prelude us to happiness and goodness with the coming of the Messiah. Amen. So that's what the holiday is about. Let's go on to how Uranus semi-sextile Chiron will make us feel. So I went over this at length, and again, one of those earlier videos, so I won't do it again. But it'll help us to focus on new methods of healing. Like we begin to understand that the healing process is never over. You know, we are going to get past some major karmic lessons. Karmic, of course, in the air quotes. But there's always growth. And so growth is essentially healing, right? You know, as we continue to progress, that's healing. So that never ends unless we end, right? Once we're no longer here, that's when that comes to an end. So we'll begin to like sort of understand that. And we may be moved more toward spirituality and spirituality as it relates to healing. So some of you may get into whatever your spiritual gifts are. And, you know, when I refer to spiritual gifts, it's not only like things like tarot and stuff. I don't know who started the rumor that everybody's supposed to do tarot, read tarot. Like, oh, I'm spiritual now, I got to read tarot. No, we're not all meant to read tarot, and tons can't. A multitude can't. And therefore should not, because then it's like, you know, then it's like a mocking of a tool. There are so many things that you might not even think of that are healing and that are spiritual. Some of us are writers, right? This is therapeutic, not only to yourself, but to those who read your words. Whether you're writing poems or books or music. And then if it's music, right, there's a way to read the music that is soothing, and then to also hear it. There's an added bonus with that. You know, so it's all these different kinds, and we don't have to get stuck in these boxes of, you know, spirituality equals tarot. And I'm just throwing that as an example. There's a few things that are sort of oversaturated, you might say. A few of these spiritual areas, and maybe others where we might be suffering because people haven't, you know, ventured out into those, you know, these other fields. And You know, they may even be afraid to, thinking like, well, that's not what I'm supposed to do first. My first thing is to do, you know, what everybody else is doing. It's not. So you might be guided, pushed even, to go within and pull out your spiritual gift and begin to groom that and to use it as a mechanism for healing. And then speaking of drugs and toxicity and, you know, breaking away from things. I was talking about the 10 of Swords a moment ago. This time could tempt us to, you know, want to use some of these things as well. To, you know, you could be moved to want to drink and maybe smoke or something. Or exemplify some sort of addictive behavior or pattern. So we want to watch out for that. That's the negative side of it. Moving on to the 20th, and Saturn and Neptune, that aspect. Basically, I went over this one too, I think that same day. So, all right, I guess it's first we got to understand like Saturn, how Saturn is and how Neptune is. So Saturn is going to be restrictive. It's the energy that's represented by the devil in the tarot, which again brings in toxicity and addiction and all that kind of stuff, because it's people that get stuck in their ways or stuck on something and don't know how to shift. Capricorn energy can be very, if you think Taurus is stubborn, these people can be very stubborn and place obstacles in their own way. And they might not realize it, but the obstacles are brought on by their the rigidness, because they're just like not flexible. They get stuck, and so it's not their fault. It's Saturn, right? They're ruled by Saturn, and that's the energy of Saturn. So when it comes together with Neptune, it's like Neptune is this watery, dreamy energy that can cause us to fantasize, and so it's like psyche and emotion coming together really, really strongly, maybe more so than the other two water signs. And then when the psyche, so it's our imagination and stuff, and our emotion come together, this is where we start to fantasize. And when it gets to be, that has its extremes too, where that begins to, where those dreams begin to be like too dark, I'll say, murky, maybe the water. That can lead to toxicity and addiction and stuff too. So you got these two things that are coming together. It's like ego, of course, represented by the Saturn. Ego and emotion coming together. And so it might be a power struggle. Might be a power struggle to let go and to surrender to what's real. And what's within your power to change, and what you need to change, and what creative outlets and spiritual energies and things you should be looking to find your way out of difficult places and to remove the obstacles from in front of yourself. So that's what these two things will do. And I think that we've covered everything for the week. So I'm going to go to the dice. Beginning with cocktail. Yes. And sex. Spirit says spend money. Stay in bed. And yes, still. So if you have like a yes or no question in mind, the answer will be yes too. Going to the cards and beginning with the Queen of Water, who's tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. And opening to the Five of Earth, womp womp. This is the energy of lack. This is that Capricorn, probably, the Saturn stuff. Fears surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, on a positive note, and maybe uncertain self-employment. This is the Capricorn and Pisces. This is the Saturn and Neptune right here. Of course, the Queen of Water, again, can represent the sign of Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Oh, I didn't talk about the fact that the Sun enters Leo this week. Maybe because I didn't think about it till just now. But on the 20th, the Sun enters Leo. So, opening to the Two of Water. Nice. A relationship that continues to grow closer. Forgiveness and the positive resolution of a conflict. Opposite the Queen of Water. So this can easily be a romantic relationship, or if it's not, it's, you know, maybe it's familial. It's somebody about which you actually care. A partnership about which you care. Two of Water. If it has to do with work, it could be because you love what you're doing, right? You're in love with your job and perhaps your partner at work. Your business partner. Opening to the Five of Air, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from others. No. Learn what you can from this situation and review everyone's motives. The Five of Air, or Swords, is not only about conflict and drama, but to me, it often has, it's often conflict and drama in which we had a hand. Even if we didn't mean to, it could be inadvertent. It could be like, I didn't even realize I did that, but something, like in hindsight, you realize, ooh, like I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have did that, because that set some sort of wheels in motion that led to this other consequence. That's what the Five of Air often is, if you ask me. Two of Water. So it's something that we should try to avoid if we can. Opening to the Two of Fire, you've come into your own new partnerships or contracts. Continue to move forward. But also the Eight of Air, an illusion of being trapped. So here's that Saturn. A lack of self-confidence and being afraid to take action. Two of Water. And release or death in the traditional tarot. Major Arcana card number 13. It's the end of a phase or situation. Spiritual transformation. It's time to move on. Death represents the sign of Scorpio. Two of Water. Okay. Actually, the Queen of Water does too. Like in the tarot, the fixed sign of any given element is technically represented by the Queen. And of course, look, you see the ego or the devil sticking up just now? A false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. Of course, again, ego, the devil, represents the planet Saturn and the sign of Capricorn, which it rules. And speaking of Scorpio, Scorpio's ruler Pluto currently retrograde in Capricorn. So that can be why that's showing up here too. And Saturn, ruler of Capricorn, retrograde in Capricorn itself right now as well. But I'd otherwise come to the Queen of Air, and I was talking about how the Queen in the tarot actually represents the fixed sign as it relates to tarot. Not, that's tarot readers or whatever. And so that would be Scorpio. And here, it would be Aquarius, if we're talking about the fixed sign for the suit of air. The Queen of Air is independent, experienced, realistic and witty, objective decision-making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, and seeing the humor in a situation. The Queen of Air is not only an Aquarius, though. She's also a Gemini or a Libra, or anyone likened to these traits or attributes. Overall energies, the Ace of Earth, the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents or contracts. These It can actually be some sort of new business thing. It can be a relationship. We've seen now the Ace of, well, this is not, we've not only seen it, it's our overall energy. And look what's peeking out from behind there. Major Arcana card, the Wheel, which represents the planet Jupiter, again, which is retrograde currently. Not retrograde, it's direct now. It's still in Scorpio, but it is direct now. Ruler of Sagittarius, and also connected to the fixed signs that I've been talking about. So Scorpio again, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. A time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward. And fortune is on your side. So that's real nice sitting here behind the Ace of Earth. Again, it could be a huge financial or material blessing, but it can be a relationship too, because we've also seen the Two of Water and the Two of Wands. So either of those can be a business partnership, a friendship, you know, a really close friendship, platonic even, a romantic relationship. All of these things are possible. Some sort of asset, a new home, moving in together, two people perhaps. Those twos could be connected to the other twos, you know, associated with 716. Again, that was, we're going to have Uranus, what was it? Uranus, 2 degrees, I forget now. 2 degrees, was it Uranus? Not Uranus. I put my little note down. I never write anything down. See what happens when I start writing stuff down? I don't remember it anymore. But we have, was it Uranus and Chiron? I don't remember now. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Never mind. But anyway, as far as the degrees, we had the 222 there. Crowning the masculine this week, the Page of Fire, outgoing, creative, confident, and mischievous. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. The Page of Fire is a Sagittarius for me, which I was just talking about. Again, Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. This is connected to the energy of the wheel. This can also be, however, a Pisces, a Leo, or an Aries, maybe even a Scorpio. Masculine surrounded by Major Arcana card Strength, number 11, which represents the sign of Leo. Again, the sun enters Leo this week. This could be why. Great inner strength. Release harsh judgments. Instead, exercise some forgiveness and compassion. This is another 2, too, by the way. As is this ace. Aces are 11s or 1s. Masculine subconscious, the 6 of Water, memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, and romanticizing the past. So this is what's on his mind. It could be about, you could just be being nostalgic, being dreamy, like the energy of Pisces, thinking back, fantasizing, oh, remember when. Feminine, crowned by the 8 of Fire. Events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over. Many things are happening at once. This is also about communication, but it's funny that it's here mirroring the Page of Fire, because the 8 of Fire for me is very reminiscent of like Cupid's arrows being hurled at people. And so often the communication that I feel is communication, you know, related to romantic interest or love. Especially in the Rider-Waite tarot. And that's why I first started to feel it. I don't know why. Like all those rods, it just reminded me of, I don't know, Cupid's arrows. And then later I would come to find out that Cupid was a Sagittarius, which makes sense, right? Because the archer with the bow and arrow is a Sagittarius. Cupid, of course, also Venus's son. And so, you know, like mother, like son, they're both in the business of love. So I just think it's really nifty that the arrows that I associate with Cupid are opposite the card that I associate with Cupid. And the zodiac sign, Sagittarius. Surrounding the feminine, It's another 8. The 8 of Earth. Skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic and maybe even going back to school. So 8's again connected to karma and karmic energy for one thing. But with all the healing that comes up this week with the transit between Uranus and Neptune, as well as the transit with Chiron. I don't know why I can't remember who. Is it Uranus also with Chiron too? Why can't I remember that one? But Chiron is the wounded healer. So healing comes up there too. And again, we'll be moved with that energy to find new ways to heal. More spiritual, more holistic, more natural, like from our hearts, we'll just start to do stuff. So the feminine maybe more so than the masculine going through that this week with all this 8. Also, feminine may be guided to put effort into something specific, creative outlets, as I mentioned during that reading. That could be herself, getting to know herself and her talents more. That could be too. That could be what this 8 of Earth in particular is representing. This is about learning a new skill, honing a new skill. It could be your own, spiritual gifts, awareness. That could be what you're working on honing this week. And as far as building something up, well, that's what 8 means in supreme math too. Supreme math, number 8 means build, destroy, which basically is a concept that says if you're not building, you are destroying. Right? If you're not helping, you're hurting. If you're not contributing, you're taking away, you're detracting. If you're not, for us, you're against us. All of that. So it's putting effort toward making something better, helping something to grow. Feminine subconscious. It's another 2. Major Arcana card 20, renewal or judgment in the traditional tarot. Judgment represents the planet Pluto, for me, ruler of Scorpio. Again, Pluto, which is currently retrograde in Capricorn. Review and evaluate. A favorable assessment of the facts. It's time to move in a new direction. As it relates to abundance, this is about abundance earned. Similar to the 3 of Earth, but of course much stronger as Major Arcana card 20. In a general sense, it's pretty literal and, straightforward. It's about being judgmental and like watching ourselves, that we're not judgmental, overly with ourselves or anybody else. Like, feeling guilty about stuff and blaming. When it comes up, there's a need to let go of any sort of stuff like that. And as it relates to relationships, romantic and otherwise, all relationships, friendships, all that kind of stuff, it's about coming to a place where we got to decide, like, where are we going from here, if anywhere? Like, if we've come to the end of the road, or a new path that we're going to walk together, the gateway. Are we going through the gateway? Speaking of 8, right? Are we going through together, or just me? And you're going to fall back? What's happening here? Mirroring the 6 of water could definitely be the main reason why judgment is showing up here, is having to do with a relationship. And not only do we have all these 2s, we have a bunch of 8-11s, right? Here's an 8-11, here's an 8-11, here's an 8-11, here's an 8-11, because we got the 2 8s and we got the 2 2s. This can be any relationship from the past. So again, familial, friendship, romantic, that we're revisiting and, seeing what's going to come of it. Crowning. The Queen of Fire, who's confident, warm, intelligent, and graceful. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence and creativity. The Queen of Fire is perhaps a Sagittarius. More likely a Leo as the fixed sign of the element of fire. She's a Leo. Can also be an Aries or maybe even a Scorpio. At the root, it's that lack again. The 5 of Earth. Fears surrounding money. the wisdom to accept help from others, and uncertain self-employment. And it sits here between what would be our abundance earned and something from the past. So this fear that we've developed could be from our past, could be from our childhood, could be from a past experience, work experience, if it's related to money, or, you know, some other relationship with money that was, you know, we handled poorly, and so now we have a fear of it. The dice we came up with spend money. There could be people who, you know, afraid to do that because they know that they mismanage money. So they just like rather just hold on to it too, and that's not good either. As it relates to relationships, especially sitting here between the Six of Water and Judgment, this can be about fear of abandonment, fear of commitment, just fear of lack in a relationship, period. And again, it could be something that we developed in our past that we're going to need to work through this week with all this fire energy, the Chiron, the Leo sun. We're going to need this strength to help us through the healing process. At the heart of the matter, conflict, drama, the Five of Air, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. We may need the strength for that too, to get through. Again, some of these relationships are going to be challenged, and we're going to decide you know, are we done? Or is there something, you know, there's another chapter for us? And we're going to need this, you know, in some cases, depending upon how emotionally involved or attached we are, we're going to need the strength to get through it, or how financially involved or attached. Again, if it's a business relationship, you know, we have to be diligent there too in our movements and choices as to what we're going to do going forward. I'm going to further clarify these with the Animal Tarot, beginning with yet another Queen of Spring. Here's one here, and starting with this one. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once. 8 fire. But you can do it. You can handle it all. Opening to the Three of Spring, which may involve a party of 3, but is also about abundance. Stop to take time to review and to make long-term plans, capitalizing on your past successes. It's appropriate to pat yourself on the back for all your accomplishments, but you may also need some patience for the next phase of this situation to play out. Queen of Spring. And the Six of Winter. The challenging times are coming to an end, and you can now breathe a sigh of relief. Let go of the past and embrace happier times ahead. Queen of Spring and the Prince of Autumn. It's important to make a detailed plan before starting any new endeavor. Once you have the plan in place, then you can take immediate action and get as much accomplished as possible. The Prince of Autumn is trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. He's also a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. He can be somebody who helps to facilitate some sort of, you know, earthly matter for you. But it may take time. When the Prince of Autumn shows up, he always reaches his goal. You know, he doesn't fail. He puts that plan out in place, and then he actually implements it. But he is methodical to like a fault, where he's so slow. But it's like slow and steady wins the race, though. It definitely requires patience. Queen of Spring. I'll do one more. And it's the 10 of Summer. It's time to express your love and appreciation for family, be it relatives or a chosen family of close friends. Congratulations also may be in order on a happy, fulfilling marriage, as well as raising happy children that are balanced. Queen of Spring. And it's the Sun, Major Arcana card number 19. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness, prosperity, and success. You'll garner the recognition for your accomplishments that you so richly deserve. The Sun represents the sign of Sagittarius in the tarot, but the Sun in the sky, Earth's star, the Sun represents the sign of Leo. And again, the Sun, the Earth's star, the Sun enters the sign of Leo this week. Wow. Overall energy, 6. All that talk of Mary and 6 and the triple twos equaling 6. Here's 6 again. 6, the Lovers represents the sign of Gemini in the tarot. And in this deck, it's really about love, more so than a decision. True and long-lasting love finds its way into your life. Follow your heart with caring actions and choices. So where it relates to a decision, it's really making sure that you go within and listen to your heart in choosing, more so than your intellect, despite being a Gemini or having that sort of energy surrounding you. Atop the Page of Fire, it is the Emperor, Major Arcana card, the Emperor, which represents the planet Mars, the red planet. So more fire. The red planet is currently retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, for one thing. Emperor also represents the sign of Scorpio for me, which can be a Page of Fire, maybe a younger one, a younger Scorpio. Or anybody likened to these traits or attributes. This can be connected to somebody's father, maybe a father-son relationship too. Or some sort of authority. But I'm feeling it's more about personal authority over your own life here. Structure and organization are important right now. Don't be afraid to take on a leadership role, as you have much wisdom to offer. Atop Strength, ooh, and sitting next to the 5 of Winter, it's another 5 of Winter. So again, it's the strength that's needed to get through some of these relationships that we're struggling with, because the relationships mean something to us. It's you know, a good friend or a family member, or an old mate or a current mate that's not working with anymore, or something like that, or that it is working with, but in the moment it's not, and we got a problem. So we need the strength to get through these situations. Your current path isn't leading you toward the happiest possible outcome. So why not change it? Always maintain integrity and compassion, but be alert to the hidden agendas of others. Somebody else could have sort of tried to like slip a monkey wrench in your business, your relationship, your situation with somebody else or something. Maybe that's where the party of 3 comes in. And so that could be what that means there. Atop the 6 of Water, the Ace of Winter. Implementation of your brilliant new idea may get off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges will help you to refine your plan and to shape your goals into something even better. The Ace of Winter is all about truth, justice, victory over our past issues, victory over our past period, our experiences. The truth coming out, having, you know, something to do with the past. It's been hidden for a long time. Here comes the truth, represented by the Ace of Water. And also a new beginning, maybe in an area of some sort of soulmate relationship or something, that gets off to a rough start, but, you know, it works out in the end. And the more important thing is that it is a new start, a new beginning. The masculine himself can be conflicted with himself. And that may be why he needs to get things in order and go to where he's about what he's impassioned, or whom he's passionate about. Go within and seek that. Look toward the heart and those feelings, rather than, again, this swords energy. He's fighting himself perhaps on what he wants or who he wants in his life. That's another possibility. Atop the 8 of fire, it's the Queen of Winter. Experienced, self-sufficient, brilliant, and funny. She's here mirroring the ace. She is a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, someone likened to these traits or attributes. And she's busy getting things moving and going behind the scenes. All your life experiences have prepared you for this moment of truth. It's time to declutter your home, clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore, and disengage from people who create more drama. Right, we got the 5 of Winter here and the 5 of Winter here. More drama than happiness. So then some people we're going to have to give the boot to, as I used to say when I was younger. Take the boot. Or these boots are made for walking. And yeah, some people are going to have to cut off. That's what the Ace of Winter sword is going to be for. The Queen of Swords sword is going to be for, to cut some people off. For others, it's also going to have some to do with communication. She may be reaching out to somebody, or they may be reaching out to her. And in either case, whoever makes the initiates, the other will be receptive. Atop the 8 of Earth, all about putting in the work, the effort, so we can reap something good. It's another Strength card. So now we have Strength mirroring Strength, because we got one here and we got one here. Major Arcana card Strength, of course, also another 2. 11 equals 2. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. So this is the strength, similar to the masculines, to get through these difficult times and situations, relationships. The strength to put the effort into the areas which you'd like to, reap something, or which you've planted seeds. It could be toward a relationship. It could be toward, by way of life experience. It could be some sort of vocation, some sort of physical work, labor, a job. Atop Judgment, the 3 of Summer. You have an exciting reason to celebrate, such as an engagement, wedding, graduation, or a birth announcement. Remember to cherish those you love. And this is like to spend time with them and to be more social, and maybe to resolve our differences and make up with them, with the 3 of Summer sitting here atop Judgment. And then we can celebrate our reunion. Atop the Queen of Fire, it's another Princess of Spring. All of these cards are repeating themselves. The Princess of Spring is here underneath the Emperor, right? The Page of Wands, of Fire, and now sitting here next to herself too. Creative opportunities that you feel passionate about are fluttering your way. Personal growth and broadened horizons will spark fresh and original ideas. So this is about being youthful too. Like whatever element of fire you are, even if you are the fixed one, the Leo, maybe a little bit more uptight. You can let your hair down too and experience this youthful sort of fun energy of a mutable sign. Be more Sagittarius-like this week in pursuing your passions and, just jumping out at stuff, not so serious. Sort of with that childlike, they're invincible. And so they take the leap of faith. They're more willing to take the leap of faith. That's how you're going to be. Atop the 5 of Earth is the Moon. The Moon represents the sign of Pisces and the planet Neptune. So here comes that. It's important to trust your intuition, even if you're unsure of what's happening. All will be revealed soon, so worry is unnecessary. Neptune and Saturn. Restriction, toxicity, obstacles in front of yourself. Oh, woe is me. Ego, right? Fear is ego. And the energy of Neptune, the fantasy and emotion. The Moon It's also about, especially joined with the Five of Earth, it's saying like the universe is counting on you to have faith regardless of whether you know everything. And so the universe is counting on you to let go of this fear and saying you don't have to know from where your money or your material things is coming from, or where, you know, the support is necessarily coming from, what's going to go on in your relationships. You don't have to know every step of the way. Just trust that, you know, things are going to be, they're going to work out as we're showing you, you know, but we're going to show you but so much. We're not telling you every single thing. Or rely on your intuition. We're giving you signs. We're sending you synchronicities. Pay attention to that too. You've been blessed with wisdom. Pay attention to that too. Look within. Pay attention to your dreams. While you sleep, while you're awake, your daydreams too. Pay attention. Write them down. We're sending you messages so that you don't have to do this. Be fearful. Also, this can have something to do with something hidden, whether it's the universe that's hiding it or somebody, you know, down here in the 3D. But what's done in the dark comes to light. And with this sitting next to the Ace of Winter, some truth can come out about something as well, which we already felt that with the Ace of Winter, but even more so now sitting next to the moon, some truth can also be revealed, especially since the sun has been here too. And, you know, the sun shines a light on everything. It illuminates everything. And what's done in the dark always comes to light when that happens. The heart of the matter atop our other Five of Winter is the King of Autumn, who's compassionate, accomplished, charismatic, and grounded. Everything's going to turn out great. Projects will be stunningly successful. Exciting new career opportunities are possible. And money or resources that come your way will be invested wisely. So some of us are worried about money. That's what the fear is. Or the conflict is over money and stuff like that with the King of Autumn, the Five of Autumn or Earth, and Judgment like this. And then the Strength card over also the Eight of Autumn. These are all pentacles here. So for some of us, it is something about something material or money that we're worried about. For some of us, there is a relationship maybe between an air sign and an earth sign. Yeah, air and earth, water and earth, water and fire. All the elements actually are represented here. And for a good bit, this has to do with worry about money. You've been restricted. That's been where the restriction is. That's where you felt stuck. And you just don't know where, you know, the money is going to come from, a check is going to come from. But with, again, the overall energy of the Ace of Earth and the Wheel of Fortune upright sitting behind that, and a positive change coming with the energy of Jupiter and Sagittarius. And we have two Princesses of Spring or Pages of Wands here, which represent that, you know, reconfirming that things are getting better. And then right here at the heart of the matter, we have the King of Autumn showing up. It is going to be a comfortable week, particularly for those who let go of the fear. Because if you manifest the fear and you manifest the lack and you manifest the broke, that's what you'll have. But those of us who shake that off and remember what the rest of what we were presented with, this will come through. Right? The blessings will show up, will arrive. And I'm going to look even more into this with the cards of abundance specifically, beginning with Queen Energy Food. But definitely some relationships coming for some too. It's relationships, it's money, it's both this week. Good things in both areas. Speaking of moonlighting is a possibility. If you're worried about money and you're stressed out about your career or your self-employment, your own business, how do I get it off the ground? How do I work on it when I got this other job? Moonlighting. You can start working on your dream career part-time while keeping your other job to pay the bills. Soon your dream career will take flight and fully support you. But let's begin with clean energy food. When you fuel your body with a healthy organic diet, you increase your energy levels and the ability to focus. This automatically leads to more efficiency, better ideas, and a higher vibration, which attracts golden opportunities and beneficial relationships. And opening 2, employment change. Again, that's what some of us can be afraid of. Waiting for this job to come in, waiting for the opportunity. Your career path is leading you in a higher direction with positive changes to support your dreams, priorities, passions, and life purpose. Trust that these changes will help you to release the old and to welcome the new. You're being supported each step of the way. Clean energy food. And detox your friendships. Your abundance flow is being affected by people with whom you're spending time. So be discerning about your associations and your relationships and choose to be with people who are inspiring, generous, and supportive. I tell you, some people are going to have to be cut off. And you know, that's where I'm going to put the cards. I'm not going to cover all of these, but I just saw employment change again. Now let go of guilt. I talked about this with connection to judgment, letting go of guilt. Ceasing to blame ourselves for stuff. Everything, like when you dole out the forgiveness and compassion, give some to yourself first. Oh, speaking of that, let go of guilt. I guess I was meant to read it to you guys. When you allow your light to shine brightly, you inspire others. Forgive yourself for what you think you've done or not done, and trust that God loves you unconditionally for who you are. Learn and grow from your past mistakes instead of berating yourself for them. So that's this. That's this. Particularly for the masculine, of course. And it's this. And with the strength to do that, to learn and grow and keep it moving. The overall energy is do the work. It's not enough to dream or to pray. You've also got to take positive action steps that you're being divinely guided to take. Consistently working on your priorities will make them flourish like a lush flower garden. So I'm going to put here one here over this 5 of winter. And one here for the feminine over the work she has to do and the strength to do it. And one here over the 3 of summer and judgment. And one here over the 6 of water and the ace of air. And lastly, one here over this funky 5 of earth and the moon. All right, so joining the 5 of winter and strength is organized for success. And it sits here underneath the emperor, which is all about organization. Okay, for our stability, our foundations connected to the energy of 4. So this is a repeating of that message. Don't let the word organize intimidate you, as it's simply a way for you to ensure clarity of purpose. Organizing your thoughts, your reports, your living and workspace, and your finances will help you to know when to plan your next action steps. So rather than back away from them and not want to face them, right? You don't want to look at your books even. Just take a peek, and so that you can get organized. It's here crossing the emperor too. Again, like I said, and sitting next to this. Atop the ace of winter and the 6 of water. Part of victory involves paying yourself first. That's going to go toward your success. Make yourself the most important financial obligation by setting aside a portion of your income every time you're paid. This loving form of self-care ensures that you have a savings to invest in your present and your future, right? So we're not just going to focus on the past. We're looking forward too toward our present and our future. Atop the strength card and the 8 of earth for the feminine, positivity, faith, and optimism. 2 means faith, right? It means partnership and relationship, but yes, it means faith also. You open the doorway to positive experiences and opportunities with your positive expectations and energy. Don't allow negative energy or temporary setbacks to interfere with the path that you're on. Keep the faith and keep going. And again, here's an 8-11 for us also. But 2s represent faith because, and I've gone over how numerology works a little bit. With 1s, we're manifesting. So it's what we think and speak over our lives. We're getting ideas, we're getting thoughts, we're getting words, and we're putting them into the air. The 2 is where we believe that we can actually conceive them, that these things can actually turn into tangible, something. That's faith. That's what the faith is. All right, here atop the 3 of summer, where we may be celebrating a reunion of some sort, with sitting here on top of judgment. If that's what you want, ask, your whoever you look to, your ancestors, the angels, God. Ask your friends down here. Maybe they can hook you up, physical in the 3D. Maybe you have somebody who can help you to reunite with somebody that you'd like to heal a relationship with. Asking for help is a sign of strength, as is accepting it as it's offered to you. Very often when you ask God for help, prayers are answered through other people. So be sure to accept this assistance as well as to give it to others when you're guided to. And lastly, for us all, here in the middle, atop the moon and the 5 of earth, is focus on your priorities, right? Stop focusing on fear and ego and pride and worry. Instead, focus on your priorities and what you got to do, putting the work in. We have this here crossing this energy of work with the 8 of earth. Where you put your focus is where you receive your outcome. Your priorities are calling you, which may produce a feeling of anxiety. Unless you give it give your priorities the time and attention that they and you deserve. Even a small amount of time devoted to your priorities will help you to feel better and more confident. And there really is no reason to not feel confident. We are like so Trump tight this week with all these court cards and major arcana cards that if you let this 5 get you down, you deserve to be down. Stay there. Seriously. Well, 2 for the masculine from the Angel Tarot this week. First bit of advice for the masculine: the Queen of Water, tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. Again, to the Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. And this is all about relationships developing to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. So being nurturing. And your other bit of advice from the Angel Tarot masculine: the 10 of air, about which I spoke. So again, the mixed feelings that I said might come up this week because of the celestial energy that was in the air. It's the end of a difficult situation. So embrace the change and expect things to get better. You may even be recovering from an addiction. And if you are, bravo. And if you feel drawn to something, to which you've been addicted, or, your addicted personality, and you're tempted to, pick up some sort of new habit, don't. Not this week. Because remember, we just read about what happens when Saturn and Neptune come together. Feminine, for us, it's the Knight of Air, who's intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. We may have some sort of decision to make, and I think that where we do, it has to do again with whether or not, and if so, how to heal a situation, a relationship. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so you can come up with creative solutions. The Knight of Air, like the Queen and maybe even the Ace, is a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. From the Animal Tarot to the masculine, it's the Magician. I just talked about this, the manifestation and the one. Here is yours. There is magic in the air, and you can manifest anything and everything you need in order to be successful. Right? It's within your power. This is you. Here's the Emperor, taking control of your own life. You manifesting your own destiny. And here's the ability for you to do so. Feminine, for us, from the Animal Tarot, It's the end of more difficulty. Good. Enough with difficulty. You're working too hard and the stress will soon become too much. Reach out for help from others. And take some time to play and to enjoy life. Be more social. From the abundance angels to the masculine, ask for your needs to be met. God and the angels can come to your aid only if you make a free will choice to be helped. And it begins with asking. It doesn't matter how you ask God for help, but only that you do so. The same holds true with clearly asking other people to assist you. And you've got the strength to do that here, where your pride has been keeping you from doing so, has been fighting you, where it's been an internal struggle to reach out. It's led to conflict the way you've done so, because you've been too abrasive, again, too prideful, too arrogant. You have the ability to quell that with this water, but also the strength to still, you know, stand on your own integrity and, you know, say what you mean and mean what you say and handle your business. We don't have to go to the extremes of, you know, it's this way, I have this kind of attitude, or that one. There's like a middle ground that's healthier and more balanced and healthy. Lastly, for the feminine from the angels of abundance, bountiful nature. Spending time in nature helps shift you to a higher vibration and reminds you of God's infinite abundance. Go outside and enjoy a walk or a hike with your pet. Meditate beneath a tree, garden, or sit under the stars. Or do some other activity to connect with the limitless vastness. With all this earth, all these earth cards, the Ace of Earth, the King of Earth. I'm not going to talk about this 5 no more. The 8 of Earth. I'm only going over the positive ones. And renewal or judgment isn't Earth, but it is about, you know, can be about money and the material. I think we're definitely moved to spend some time with Mother Nature this week, particularly the feminine, and helping our abundance to flow. And while you're doing that, while you're outside chilling, maybe eat something healthy too, and get that vibration increased with your clean energy eating. Hope that you guys have found the weekly reading helpful. I'll be back with love. Namaste, angels. Like the video if you liked it. Bye.